On this Friday night, Canada's unexpected hiring spree. What's driving the creation of tens of thousands of jobs?
A welcoming upside surprise.
And how Ottawa plans to protect the workforce from AI. GST top-up. Millions of Canadians are receiving a cash injection to tackle food inflation. Emergency in space. The evacuation alert for astronauts aboard the International Space Station. The push for patriotism. What a new opinion poll reveals about support for Alberta separatism.
The whole thing is stupid.
Plus, Extreme Makeover, Washington edition.
It's somewhat of a train wreck.
Reaction to the U.S. president's numerous projects making his mark on the American capital.
Now it's all about Trump.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with some surprising good news about the economy. Statistics Canada says the labour market roared back to life last month, adding nearly 88,000 jobs. Those gains significantly beat economists' expectations. The new jobs spanned different industries, were mostly full-time and driven by young workers. Jillian Piper reports on what it means for Canada's economic outlook.
It took years for Pari Pickrell to land a part-time job, and now she's worried her university degree won't be enough after graduation.
Now I'm doing computer science and cognitive science, just hoping maybe that way I can have like a backup plan if I actually cannot get any jobs.
New job numbers show some progress for Canadian youth who for the first time since January saw their unemployment rate drop to 13.4%. But that's still double the national level, which also dropped to 6.6% last month, roughly the same as it was 6 months ago.
We had some positive news on the economic front today.
The Prime Minister taking credit for the good economic news.
Drop in the unemployment rate, big drop in the youth unemployment rate, signs that our plan's working.
That plan was off to a rocky start. Canada lost 112,000 jobs in the first 4 months of the year, but last month saw an unexpected gain of 88,000 positions, mostly driven by full-time jobs in the private sector.
Obviously, a pretty big job gain and a huge tick lower in the unemployment rate back to 6.6% is a welcoming upside surprise after a string of pretty bad labour market reports.
The employment boost is in part thanks to reduced federal immigration levels, slowing population growth.
We don't have that influx of competition coming in for the younger workforce, so they end up getting their part of the pie.
But economists warn the uncertainty of the Canada-United States-Mexico Free Trade Agreement has the Canadian economy in a holding pattern.
The economy has been growing at a pretty weak pace for a long time now.
The Bank of Canada will be weighing inflation risks from the war in Iran against slower growth thanks to trade uncertainty at its next interest rate decision on Wednesday, Jeff, where economists are expecting the central bank to hold its current rate of 2.25%.
Jillian Piper in Ottawa. Thanks, Jillian. Well, you might want to check your bank account tonight. Millions of Canadians are receiving a one-time payment. It's part of the federal government's pledge to tackle the affordability crisis, particularly food inflation. But not everyone is eligible. Heidi Petracek reports on who qualifies and for how much.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
The Prime Minister posed at a grocery store.
We are laser focused on affordability for Canadians.
And Liberal MPs fanned out across the country.
12 millions de Canadiens et Canadiennes.
This is our boost.
All touting the one-time payment hitting bank accounts for the 12 million Canadians who qualify, leading to the transformation of the GST credit into the Canadian Groceries and Essentials benefit next month.
It's not just a minor adjustment. It's a meaningful buffer specifically designed to help offset grocery cost increases resulting from the uncertainty and the conflicts we're seeing.
For the next 5 years, the benefit will increase 25%. To qualify, the maximum a person without children can make is $56,181 as of the 2024 tax year. For a couple without kids, income must fall below $59,481, and amounts increase when homes include children. Mom Haley Ramsey welcomed the bump in her bank balance Friday.
In my head, I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to have extra money. No.
But by the time she bought groceries and caught up on bills,
Yep, gone.
Therein lies the challenge. It's not just the cost of food, it's gas and other bills too.
Get the grocery prices down and housing down, honestly, because who can afford to live anymore?
Today's a good day. We can buy extras, buy decent
what about 2 weeks from now, right?
The new reality is that we're going to see more up and down in food prices. You know, we live in a climate change world. We live in a geopolitical world where there is significant lack of predictability.
This targeted benefit meant to ease the short-term pressure as government works out just how to tackle food inflation for the long run. Heidi Petracek, Global News, Halifax.
Another prominent voice is weighing in on the debate over whether Canada is now in a recession. Last week, StatsCan data suggested that Canada was indeed in a technical recession, but an independent, nonpartisan panel of top economists now says it's too soon to start using the R word. Our Mackenzie Gray joins us to help make sense of it all. Mackenzie.
We saw in Jillian's piece the Prime Minister attempting to take credit for those good jobs numbers, Jeff, but the Liberals really don't want anything to do with recession talk. The Conservatives say Canada's in a full-blown recession after StatsCan released data showing Canada's economy contracted for 2 consecutive quarters, which is the textbook definition for a recession. But one of the key arbiters of if one's actually taking place is pumping the brakes. The C.D. Howe Institute, a well-known think tank, has for decades been accepted as the folks who make calls on if a recession's happening, and they say it's too early to know. They don't accept the definition of a technical recession, 2 consecutive quarters of GDP falling, as the true measure of a recession. They also point out GDP numbers are often revised, meaning the 0.1% GDP decline in the first quarter of 2026, that could actually go positive. And there have been some healthy jobs indicators, which doesn't often happen during a recession. But any way you slice it, if the economy grows by 0.1% or declines by 0.1%, it's clear that things aren't firing on all cylinders, a long-term problem for Canada, according to a new Parliamentary Budget Officer report, Jeff, that projects growth in Canada will be less than 2% for the next 5 years, well below the G20 average of 3%.
Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa. Thank you, Mac. Canada's new artificial intelligence strategy is raising fears about the potential for widespread job losses. Some unions are now sounding the alarm after the federal government unveiled its ambitious AI plan yesterday. It calls for increased AI adoption across businesses as well as government. David Aiken reports on what it could mean for the workforce.
And for many Canadians in this room, but beyond, there are really serious concerns. They are scared about their job.
Indeed, some unions have been sounding the alarm for years.
Workers have some real concerns when it comes to AI, whether it's job loss or AI amplified surveillance in the workplace or key decisions being made by algorithms.
There is no data yet on job losses or job gains due to AI, but there is consensus that AI will significantly impact the workforce.
Whether we like it or not, AI is actually going to touch most of our jobs. How we accept that change, it's a personal choice.
The Carney government's AI for All strategy will meet that change challenge with a heavy focus on training and reskilling, with a special focus on young Canadians.
We are creating a national AI literacy program for every Canadian. We are investing in 90,000 jobs for young people. We are investing in skills and training through our universities, CEGEPs, and our colleges.
And while more details will be needed, experts say that is the right policy response.
It's often less discussed that there is a very strong human component that's needed. In fact, most of the tasks that undermine our works actually require human judgment.
And that's just what Carney's AI minister, Evan Solomon, said Friday while speaking about AI use in the healthcare field.
AI is not here to replace doctors or nurses. It is not here to replace judgment. It is not here to replace compassion. It is not here to replace care. It is here to deliver better service.
David Aiken, Global News, Ottawa.
Police in the Toronto area are cracking down on what they're calling criminal tourism. Investigators say they've uncovered a network of criminals who come to Canada as tourists to carry out profit-driven crimes.
We are seeing the same individuals, the same methods, and the same networks operating across the Greater Toronto area and across Canada. These groups are mobile, coordinated, and in many cases connected to a broader organized crime network that extends beyond our borders.
The investigation, called Project Jet Setter, involves more than 200 incidents, ranging from large-scale retail and distraction thefts to insurance fraud. They've now arrested 46 suspects who are facing nearly 1,500 charges. 164 others are still wanted. Police say most are from Romania as well as India. 3 British men have pleaded guilty in the killing of an Ontario restaurant owner. Robert Evans Jr., his father Robert Sr., and Uncle Barry were visiting Owen Sound in 2023. They tried to leave a restaurant there without paying their bill, but they were confronted outside by the owner, Sharif Rahman. Evans Jr. then punched Rahman, who fell, hit his head, and later died. In court, Evans Jr. pleaded guilty to manslaughter, while his father and uncle admitted to helping him flee the country. The father and uncle were sentenced to 21 months in prison. Evans Jr. will receive his sentence next month. Well, some frightening moments on the International Space Station today. The 5 NASA astronauts on board were ordered to prepare for an emergency evacuation after a growing air leak was detected. That evacuation order was canceled 2 hours later, but as Mike Armstrong reports, it's just the latest issue facing the aging space station.
Station, Houston, on Space to Ground 2.
The air leak on the International Space Station has been a problem for years, but today was different. Just after 9 a.m. Eastern, NASA told its crew to execute Emergency Procedure 3.4, basically head to the docked Dragon capsule,
establish safe haven,
and prepare for a potential evacuation.
And if we need to suit up, we will do that once we're inside the Dragon. We will not suit up prior.
The emergency only lasted about 2 hours, and then everyone was allowed back into the ISS. The issue appears to have been repair work. The Russian Space Agency ordered 2 cosmonauts to try to fix the leak, which is in a service module tunnel that's part of the Russian segment of the station. NASA says it ordered the rest of the people on board to prepare to possibly leave out of an abundance of caution. They were only allowed to return when the Russians stopped their repair efforts. But considering it was an existing leak, there does appear to have been something more urgent Friday.
Telling them to put on their suits and go to their spacecraft, that is an escalation. So it is certainly something to be taken very seriously.
Now, the leak was first discovered in 2020, and despite repeated repair attempts, it continues, but there are reports it's gotten worse. The station was losing about 0.5 kilogram of air a day. That's doubled. As for the cause, it could be impacts from micrometeorites or simply the wear and tear of operating in space for more than a quarter century.
It's showing its age, for sure.
Now, NASA still plans to use the station for another 4 years before it's replaced. The question raised by Friday's emergency is how many more repairs it'll take to get there. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
Hollywood is mourning 2 veteran actors tonight. Coming up, the loss of a star from the hit TV series Ted Lasso, plus the disturbing allegations surrounding the death of James Handy. Several Canadian airlines have announced they're suspending all flights to Cuba indefinitely. WestJet and its Sunwing Vacations division, as well as Air Canada and Air Transat, suspended flights back in February, but had planned to resume their operations in the fall. The airlines now say that suspension is extended until further notice. Cuba has faced blackouts, as well as food and fuel shortages, since the U.S. effectively cut off its fuel shipments in January. The U.S. Senate has passed a $70 billion immigration enforcement package early this morning, despite a Republican rebellion.
This bill, as amended, is passed.
The vote was tight, 52 to 47. The legislation will fund ICE and Border Patrol for the next 3 years. The bill now heads to the House, which also passed a new military aid package for Ukraine last night. 18 House Republicans defied their leadership to vote in favor of that bill, which will provide $1.3 billion for Kyiv and expand sanctions against Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin is rejecting a proposal for a face-to-face meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart. In an open letter yesterday, Volodymyr Zelensky requested a ceasefire, but he also criticized Putin, taunting the 73-year-old about his age. Putin called the request rude and insincere, adding he sees no point in talks. It's the Ukrainian president's first direct public message to Putin since the start of the full-scale war. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor earned income by subletting cottages at his royal residence. That's according to a report from the UK's spending watchdog. The former prince lived rent-free at Royal Lodge for 2 decades. The report from the National Audit Office shows that he rented out 3 cottages. It's unclear how much he rented the spaces for, though he was legally allowed to do it. The audit was conducted at the request of lawmakers after Mountbatten Windsor was stripped of his royal titles and evicted from Royal Lodge, following revelations about his relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A new poll shows slumping support for Alberta separatism. Still ahead, we'll hear from the rural community of Olds. New polling from Ipsos, conducted exclusively for Global News, has found support for Alberta separatism appears to be dropping. Only 18% said that they would vote for separation in a binding referendum. That is 10% lower than in January. Our Heather Yerkes West went to Olds, Alberta, a rural community north of Calgary, to gauge reaction.
There you go.
Pancakes and sausages may be on the menu at this seniors' breakfast in Olds, Alberta, but what has tongues wagging is a referendum on whether Alberta should continue pursuing separation coming up later this fall.
I'm against it. I want us to stay as we are.
I think it's a stupid question. The whole thing is stupid. Smith should go jump in the lake.
New polling by Ipsos has found the majority of Albertans feel the same way, with support for Alberta remaining in Canada sitting at 72%, while support for separation is on the decline.
Right now, we're seeing only about 19% that say they want to have a referendum on a referendum. If you compare that to the numbers that we were getting back in January, that's down in about 10% over the space of that period of time.
But it's here in rural Alberta that support for Alberta separatism is highest at about 27%. That's compared to 18% in Edmonton and only 14% in Calgary.
We're getting screwed from Ottawa, big time. And the feeling of saying separation awakes a lot of people.
I won't vote for separation, but going back to where we were before, where Eastern interests, which are not our interests, control everything, is not going to work either.
When you see people who are upset, who are hurt, who are angry, who have given up, you don't ridicule them. You say, what is the issue that is causing you to feel that way?
Alberta's premier says the fact that separatist sentiment is dropping tells her the work she's done with the Prime Minister is rebuilding trust among Albertans that Canada can work for all. In Olds, patriotism is on full display.
We stay in Canada, we're Canadian. Canada's not for sale.
And on almost every street, a Canadian flag, or 2 or 3, flies proud. Heather Yerkes West, Global News, Olds, Alberta.
Donald Trump's Washington makeover. Up next, what do Americans think of their president's revamp of the city's famous landmarks? Welcome back. American actor James Handy has died after he was allegedly stabbed outside his home by his girlfriend's son.
Hey, Mav.
The 81-year-old actor is best known for his appearances in Top Gun Maverick and Jumanji. Police responded to his home in Southern California on Wednesday morning after a 911 caller said that he'd killed a man. Investigators say a 44-year-old then turned himself in. Handy was found badly injured in his front yard. He later died in hospital.
Do you like my mask? Isn't it pretty? It raises the dead. Americans.
There's more sad news from the entertainment world tonight. British actor Anthony Head, known for his roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Ted Lasso, has also died. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by his family after complications from pneumonia. Head was 72. U.S. President Donald Trump is making his mark on the country and the world, and that legacy now includes a makeover of some of Washington's most recognizable landmarks. As Jackson Prosco explains, the president's revamping of the U.S. Capitol may not be a lasting legacy.
Rarely has Washington so clearly reflected a president's personal interests.
He's proud. He wants us to be proud. He wants to be able to show this city to the world.
Donald Trump's transformation of the American Capitol is unmistakable.
And we picked a color called American Flag Blue.
His latest obsession, the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, a top priority for Trump The snap repainting through a sole-sourced contract cost at least $13 million.
I think that Washington should look nice. I think there's a lot of other priorities that I wish that he would be focusing on.
Trump renamed the Kennedy Center after himself. Last week, the courts ordered his name removed. He's redone Washington's fountains and parks. And of course, there's everything going on at the White House.
It's somewhat of a train wreck. It's comical and unfortunate, but this too shall pass.
Trump demolished the East Wing to build a new ballroom, gilded the Oval Office, and is currently constructing an arena on the South Lawn for a UFC fight on his birthday.
And I'm looking at it and maybe we'll never ever take it down.
These things are not going to last. They're probably going to be torn down, but certainly his name is going to be stripped off everything. I don't think he understands that yet.
Many tourists seem thrilled, locals not so much.
Where do you think the line is between projects that are for people in D.C. and projects that are for his own legacy?
Well, when he puts his name on it, I don't think it's for the people in D.C.
The culmination of it all will be festivities for America's 250th birthday. Trump has turned the main event into a political rally, a celebration of himself.
Now it's all about Trump. Everything is about Trump. Trump this, Trump that.
Past presidents have let history define their legacy after they left office. It seems Trump would rather define his own, even if it's uncertain whether any of it will stand the test of time. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
And that is Global National for this Friday night. I'm Jeff Semple. Tonight's Your Canada is Reston, Manitoba. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you here again tomorrow. Have a great night.